Chet Holmes has owned and operated 8 of his own companies, including a corporate training company, a video training company, a teleconferencing company, an advertising agency, a public relations firm, a Fortune 500 consulting firm, a telemarketing company, and a publishing company. He's conducted programs in hundreds of markets and industries and taught in such prestigious firms as Wells Fargo, Dean Witter, Thomson Newspapers, Estee Lauder, NBC, W.R. Grace, and Cosmere. Chet Holmes has run 10 different publications, 2 trade associations, and has designed hundreds of advertising and marketing campaigns. He has in-depth background in the real estate, chiropractic, medical, personnel, media, and technology industries, as well as the cosmetic and fragrance markets. He studied martial arts for 22 years, is a published songwriter, and has feature film credits. Success Magazine says Chet Holmes breaks sales records wherever he goes. Mr. Holmes has also been written about in many publications, including the New York Times, the Daily News, American Salesman, and the Wall Street Journal, and he's appeared on numerous television and radio programs. The new Mega Marketing Management and Sales Series. 10 follow-up steps for bonding with clients. Ladies and gentlemen, Chet Holmes.
Hi, how you doing? I hope you're making your way through all these modules, and I hope they're having a great impact on your company. And again, I cannot stress strongly enough how important it is to continue to work through the concepts. This one, for example, is called the 10 follow-up steps for bonding with clients. And what we're going to do is go through 10 specific follow-up steps, because most people are weak at follow-up. Most salespeople are not that strong at follow-up. So what you want to try and do as a company is build easy things for them to follow up with. Build easy things for them to follow through with. So some of this is relevant for certainly any business-to-business sale. And where you're making a one-shot deal, it's this one is probably not as relevant. But if you have a continuing business and you have like a restaurant or a retail store or any kind of business where you're going to need that customer to come back again and again, where you're not just trying to pound through and it's a one-shot deal and you never see them again, and there is going to be follow-up, this module is really, really on target. So we're going to cover 10 different steps that we've designed here that we implement at our company so that there is heavy follow-up from our salespeople to their accounts that they're working with, so that they're constantly building better and better relationships. And that's what we'd like to try and have you do, is to get enough insight into this concept that you can take these steps that we've laid out, or you can build your own. But again, every 3 months or so, you're going to go through this module and realize, we should do that one, and we should do this one, and just, it just takes constant effort. So what we're going to cover is, why does follow-up make the difference between mediocre and greatness? Then a step-by-step guide, the 10 follow-up steps, the ultimate objective of every top producer. Here's a question for you. When a driver sees a police car on the side of the road, they always slow down. For how long? Do you think they slow down for 10 minutes? For less than a mile, or for the next 5 miles? What do you think the answer is? Less than a mile. Less than 1 mile. That's what we call the cool-off factor. Well, what that really means is that people really have short imaginations. I mean, they just cool off so fast. You can go in, you can have a great meeting with somebody, and then just, within a few minutes of you leaving their office, all the reality of what's going on in their life comes rushing back into their mind. So the faster and the sooner and the quicker you can follow up, the more likely you are to stay in their top of mind. Now, in Mega Marketing 3, we covered what we call top of mind awareness, and that's when you are in the top of the person's mind. If I say to you, name a cola company, you say Coca-Cola. That has top of mind awareness. But you as a salesperson also want to achieve top of mind recognition, and that you're in the top of the person's mind. So I was working on one account for probably about 6 months, and I just stayed enough in touch with this account that every time I called him, he would say, hey, you're in my in basket. You're at the top of my in basket. And there's lots of other things here, but I'm telling you, we're going to work with you, and this and that. Just enough to stay in his face without him feeling like I was getting too pushy or really bothering him. The 7th step to every sale is follow-up. Most salespeople are weak at follow-up. They think their job is finished once the sale is closed. So if this is you, you don't have a long-term future. Great salespeople know that they have just begun when the sale is closed. I mentioned that we work with some big banks, and in one bank, right before I was meeting the CEO of the bank, I happened to, the night before, have dinner with a friend of mine who had, I think it was $500,000 in some kind of a fund with this bank. And the friend of mine wanted to put another $300,000 into the same fund, and they called the salesperson and no one returned their call. They called the salesperson and the call was not returned again. The third time, they just drew out the $500,000. Guess who called? Hi, Mr. Smith, I noticed your account just lost $500. Well, after 3 calls to you, schmuck, I decided that my business must not stay there, so the guy took out his business out of there, and that salesperson thinks they lost $500,000, but how much did they really lose? They really lost $800,000, $300,000 they never even knew about. So, remember that after you leave, the busy schedule of the client rushes back into their top of mind. When you are out of sight, you are out of mind. So your mission is to not let the client cool off. Now, there's another factor about the cool-off factor that you need to be aware of, and that is that basically enthusiasm is contagious. When you are with the prospect, your enthusiasm rubs off. The second you leave, the prospect begins to cool down. So they go from really hot, hey, this sounds great, because you're saying it sounds great and your enthusiasm is great, to yeah, to who's this? Your job is to keep them hot. So, you know, it's the same thing with these video products. You go through these products, you'll see this stuff, you'll agree with it, you'll get all enthusiastic, you'll shut off the VCR, and the next day the reality comes back into your life, and you've got all these things to do that you don't take the time to stop and sharpen the saw. You know the woodcutter story about sharpening the saw? Well, what you have to do is keep this in the top of mind of your prospect. Now, there's 2 things when you leave an office that you need to keep hot in the prospect's minds. What 2 things do you think that would be? If you guess that you are one of the things you want to keep in the top of the prospect's mind, and the sale that you made, or the hot points that they bid into, certainly those are the 2 things. If you made a good impression and began the bonding process, you must keep those cards and letters coming. Follow-up is even more important if you didn't bond. So if you did well and you follow up, that's great. Now let's say if you didn't do well, should you now just follow up even less or follow up even more? So if you didn't do well, follow-up becomes even more important. Remember, trust and respect are the largest part of the sale. Every minute that a prospect does not hear from you after you leave their office, their respect falls off another notch. So that's the kind of way I like to think of it, or the way I like to teach my salespeople, is that for every minute after you leave, their respect for you is falling off. They get the letter, it goes right back up again. Or they get the follow-up note, or the follow-up card, or the fax. So what I try to do is I call from my car and dictate to my secretary as I'm driving away from the office, and within 35 minutes, if I can get it off that fast, a nice little follow-up note comes over the fax machine. And the guy goes, well, I know he's not even back to his office yet. Wow. Yeah, it just totally impresses them. Boy, they're as sharp as I thought they were. So the sale is the second item you need to constantly keep hot. The prospect will soon forget the core reasons why they were persuaded. Putting the hot buttons in your follow-up letter reduces the cool-off factor. So let's look at the real formula for success. The real formula for success in an ongoing relationship with a person is that they trust you and they respect you. That leads you to a position where you have some influence, right? I'll tell you this again relating to what it's like to be a parent. And we have some friends of ours, and their daughter's had all kinds of problems. She's 16 years old. They wanted her to stay with us for the summertime. And when she came, and of course the parents are very judgmental, and they hate her boyfriend, and she has bad habits and this and that. So the first thing that, rapport is trust and respect. The first thing that I did was completely let her be whoever she wanted to be. You smoke? Fine, I don't care if you smoke. Not in the house, but, go ahead and smoke. Because she's smoking anyway, and so if I'm going to be able to influence her, the first thing I have to do is build the trust and respect. And from that position where she trusted me, and she knew I wasn't going to rat her out or try to get her in trouble or, make some harsh judgment on her behavior, once we had that trust going, Then she began to respect me. Then I had real influence. And, the parents say we changed her life in 2 months or whatever it was that she was with us. And that's not really quite the truth. But the fact is, the first bond was built from trust and respect. And then from those two things, you can get influence. Same thing in your business life is that when someone trusts you and they respect you, then you have the ability to influence them. The influence will translate to potential for control in your marketplace or with your kind of customer, that you're not losing them to somebody else. That will equal more market share at every mutually beneficial opportunity. So again, when we built all these tools to talk about at the end of Mega 3 about the ultimate achievement and that whole success story with California lawyers, those salespeople had so many bonds with the customers that they had the control to influence. A new competitor came into our marketplace and they were going to try and take away our business. We had such relationships with our clients, we could actually keep them out of our market because of the friendship. We kept them from going into this competitive magazine. We put this thing, it was a big magazine, backed with an aggressive campaign, with a very ambitious fellow that was determined to take over our marketplace. And we kept the advertisers out of there. Just that thing never got off the ground. Okay, and we kept them for one reason: tremendous relationship. So if you have a restaurant or you have a retail store and you have competitors nipping at your heels every day, the stronger relationship you have, when the person goes somewhere else, they almost feel like they're betraying you. It feels like a personal betrayal. Well, how are you going to build that kind of relationship? This module, follow-up. That's how. Great salespeople know every aspect of their client's criteria for making a decision to purchase. So that was certainly the case in those situations that I'm mentioning, is that you know their full criteria. You just know everything about them. The deeper your understanding, the greater the opportunity to get more market share. If you're just selling based upon your rate card and your product, the features about your product, then the only relationship you have with that prospect is based upon the sale. And so you have no influence and you don't know where the opportunities are. You have to build deep relationships in order to find the opportunities. How do you have deep relationships? How do you win the total trust and respect, which leads to influence, which leads to more market share? Only one way: this module, heavy follow-up. The other thing you want to constantly sell the person is yourself. The ultimate goal is to have your client look forward to your call. They hear you're calling and they pick up the phone. Hey, Bill, how you doing? God, so glad you called. I was sitting here wondering what the heck am I going to do this afternoon. You must become such a bright spot in your client's day that they actually look forward to your call. You must become part of your client's life. So that is a key element, and most organizations do not realize that bonding goes beyond the business that you have to do together and into the personal life. That's where you get to where I really know you now. I mentioned before, I have a restaurant where I go all the time, spend thousands and thousands of dollars there over the years and sent people there and bought gift certificates. I mean, really like great relationship. I know all about this person's life and they know all about mine. We know their children's names. I mean, we're into each other's lives. And that's what creates a bond where I feel like patronizing this person. Or another little while ago, we had a big dinner party we had to throw for 18 people. Guess what restaurant I chose for that? Well, so these things really pay off. You have to go beyond the business and into the personal in order to have a really good bond, all right? So how do you become part of your client's life? How do you stay in their top of mind? There's only one way, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Massive, diligent, and entertaining follow-up. That is the only way. And just for some core principles, you must make the relationship fun and entertaining. Cards, letters, games, jokes, gifts, constant follow-up, everything you can think of to try and build a relationship between you and the client, especially if you can make it fun. Now, before you can build a relationship, you have to know that the 7 steps to every sale, that module that we have, is critical. Your follow-up is only as good as your first 6 steps. So if you look at the 7 steps to every sale, and it talks about building rapport and qualifying the buyer and getting a deep understanding of their product or service, well, that's how I can do great follow-up. How long have you been at the company? Remember, I told you that's 2 questions I always ask everybody. How long have you been at the company? Oh, really? What'd you do before that? Those 2 questions, every single person I ever meet in any kind of a job. And that can often lead to more discussion. Well, and then, you find out what their personal motivations. What are the biggest challenges that you're having in the business? Or what would make you feel great if it happened in your business? So then I can play off of those things. It makes my follow-up much better if I did a good job at the other 7 steps to every sale. So rapport. What personal tidbits or professional goals did you note during the meeting? Need. Do you understand their needs and objectives? Value. What can you give that they will consider valuable? Desire. What can you do that will increase their desire to do more business with you? And if you did a good job here, number 2, when you asked all those questions, now you're in a position to create desire. Objections. Make sure you address their objections. So in your follow-up effort, if they had some objections, readdress them. Close. What closed them? What closed them when you were with them? Or what made them say, hey, this is great? Follow-up. The better you did on steps 1 through 6, the more penetrating that your follow-up will be. Okay? Really good stuff here. Now, your client sees you and 4 competitors. So here's a great, actual true story. We were working for another magazine. They were asking us to get sort of an understanding of them and their competitors. So since we own an advertising agency as well, we had the media people see their competitors to find out what their competitors would say about their magazine, which is great fun, you know. And we actually had 4 of them come in, and they came in and talked about their product. The next guy came in and talked about his product. The next salesperson came in and talked about their product. The next salesperson came in and talked about their product. The 5th salesperson came in and asked a lot of questions, learned about the client's entire decision-making process and criteria, and learned quite a few things about the client themselves. Well, here's a question. Who has the best opportunity to make the most interesting follow-up? Okay, which follow-up letter has the best potential to be the most interesting to the client? That's a pretty obvious question. So let's talk about what makes a great follow-up letter. Here it is, folks. The structure for a great follow-up letter. So this is step 1. 10 steps to every follow-up. Step 1, get a letter off to your client within an hour or 2 after your meeting. At the worst, it's got to come the next day. So here's the structure. Something personal. Dear Joe, that was a great story you told about your daughter. In our next meeting, I have a similar story to tell you. A compliment. You. So always starting off with the word you is always a really good idea in any follow-up letter. As many times you can have the word you in there versus I or me or us or we or our company. You certainly seem to have a great grasp on how to make your company succeed. They're lucky to have you. That's a compliment. This is something personal. This is a compliment. Hot buttons. With the challenges you face, it seems clear that 6 of our machines are exactly what you need. You'll reduce costs, these are benefits, you'll reduce costs, speed up productivity, and most importantly, relieve a lot of the stress for quite a few of your people. Now, these were his hot buttons that we're playing up on. I'm checking on how fast we can move on this one. So, makes it look like you're just moving forward, working on his behalf, and then a personal close. Once again, it was great meeting you. I have a few ideas about other productivities that I know you will like. I'll call you soon to talk about them. Now, I just had created this module with our team of people, and I'm on a plane, and I'm reading a magazine, a sales magazine, that features the sales letter of the month. So they take from all the sales follow-up letters that are sent in, and they choose what they feel are great sales follow-up letters. And I don't want to embarrass them or the person that wrote the letter by showing you the exact letter, but I'm going to give you the structure of this letter, what most people would consider to be a great follow-up letter. Okay? Opening line. Dear Joe, thank you for your time. I know how busy you are. We talked about this in the module on presentations. Anytime you thank somebody for their time and say how busy you know they are, it belittles you. Our machines are great. With our strength, we have become great. We're great. I really want your business and I'm willing to work for it. Ooh, I hate that line. It just says, it reeks of I'm a salesperson. I'm going to work for it. I'm trying to sell you. People don't like to be sold. Don't push it in their face that you're trying to sell them. You won't regret buying from us. I will call you soon to sell you some more. I mean, fundamentally, I've just sort of made fun of the letter here, but these were the core elements of that other letter that was printed in a magazine as a great follow-up letter. Most sales letters are focused on the seller, not the buyer. Don't be a salesperson, be a confidant. Focus on the customer, build rapport. What's wrong with this letter is the whole letter focuses on the company, not on Joe. Focuses on the salesperson, not on Joe. And again, it says this in the effective presentation module, never apologize for taking their time. Once you apologize for taking their time, you diminish anything you have to say. You must feel that your time is also valuable and that they are lucky to be meeting with you as well. However, don't put all the emphasis on yourself and your products. Focus on the customer, not the sale. Endear yourself to the client. Get personal. If you think you're not supposed to build relationships with your clients, then you shouldn't be in a capacity to build a business because you don't have natural techniques or natural attitudes in that area. Now, step 2, follow-up call. The follow-up call should offer something of value, something which does not necessarily benefit your company. Now, what we're trying to do here is to just keep, now, see, you went from, here you were, you're in the meeting, we've hit this dynamite relationship, and let's say the best relationship is up here somewhere. All right, so we hit dynamite relationship. It's even better when it's up here, but after you left, it fell down. Then the letter picked it up a little bit. Now the call comes and picks it up some more and starts to get you maybe even a little higher now. You're starting to try and make this climb. So, but this call is just for bonding purposes, not necessarily to sell some more. If you had a good meeting, you should now be working your way onto their staff. That is what I always tell all of our salespeople. You are on their staff. You must find the way that this product or service will help them be more successful. You are part of their staff. Get on their staff and help them succeed. And that's why our salespeople close much higher percentages than most organizations, because they are trying to find the way to help the client succeed. So here's the call. It goes, hello, Jim. I thought more about your challenges, and I think I may have a great idea for you. If you had a bad meeting, monster follow-up is your only hope. Okay, let's go to step 3. So you made the call. Now step 3 comes. Again, what we're trying to do is build the relationship here. Imagine this. Let's just tie this for a second to a restaurant owner or to a retail store. You went into the retail store, you bought a nice suit, you went into the restaurant, you had a nice meal, and then a follow-up note comes. That wouldn't be like that business thing, but it would focus on them, especially if you had some little bonding thing and you had them fill out the form for a free dinner at their database, whatever. And the follow-up comes. And the waiter or waitress that took the tag off that desk made a couple of notes, personal notes about the couple or some conversations that they have, and it mentions it in the follow-up. You want to build your restaurant clientele really fast? You want to book that restaurant solid? You want to book your retail store with large, loyal following of people? You want to build your business based upon core relationships that you control so much market share that no one can take it away from you? This is how you do it. You must constantly move to get and build and bond with these people, get deeper and deeper rapport, deeper and deeper relationships. So imagine this, you just came out of a restaurant, you get this nice card that says, you know, that was really, really great. Now, you might not do a follow-up call to that kind of a person. You might send another card, or you might send step 3. Something amusing or of personal interest. Send an amusing cartoon. Send an article or clipping of item of interest to them. Send something of interest to them. Don't sell, just schmooze. So here's a Far Side comic, which, you know, they have 365-day Far Side calendars. And, you know, just there's a new joke every day. It's a great little calendar to get. I mentioned to you, we're working with a calendar company. They have a lot of different 365-day calendars with wisdom or, you know, all kinds of sayings, or, you know, there's people who, so this one says, and as amoebas, you'll have no problem recruiting other sales reps. Just keep dividing and selling, because, you know, amoebas just keep dividing. Anyway, then you hand write a note. You hand write. Now, we're trying to break out of the clutter, so when you hand write something, it gets noticed. Bill, don't you wish you could get salespeople this easily? Ha ha, Linda. And you send this off to them. All right? So go out and look for those jokes. We included this joke in your handouts. So it's kind of a cute one that you can send. And it says, handwrite 30 notes to 30 different clients and send a joke every month. So sit down, take your best customers, your best buyers, find a joke at least once a month, and sit down and handwrite, Dear Jill, I thought you would find this amusing. Here's this. Pessimist, someone who complains about the noise when opportunity knocks. Not that funny, but, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, can be amusing, or you can tie it right to their business. Okay, here's another one. These are 2 more. These are included in your handouts. You know, I mean, we had to use jokes that we could use without paying a royalty, and so we had these, we sort of came up with these ourselves. So, what is it that a poor man has that a rich man wants? Answer, nothing. Why is a room full of married people empty? Because there's not a single person in it. Pum-pum. Okay, these are bad. What can I tell you? feel free to use those. They're free. There's no royalty charges on them. We created them for you, but for whatever. And it's really good if you can tie them to your business or profession. Now, the thing you have to understand is there's two things that are happening during this module. One is conceptual, the concept of follow-up that every business needs to learn, and that has extraordinary value. I don't care what kind of business you have, as long as you continue to go after repeat business. Then the other is actual step-by-step procedures, and what we've done here is we've laid out some step-by-step procedures, but a lot of these are focused on where there's big dollars in play there. So if you're a restaurant, you wouldn't necessarily have this step 4, which I'm going to show you now, but if you're selling something that's a bigger item and bigger ticket items and you need to constantly keep selling to these same customers, you want to keep market control, then it goes without saying that step 4 would be a meal for further bonding. Breakfast is good rapport, lunch is good rapport, dinner is great rapport. All right? You must ease into their lives. Don't be too pushy. You must judge the appropriate invitation. Offer a bonus. I did some research about your industry, Joe, and I learned some interesting things. If we can get together for breakfast or lunch, I'll take you through some of this information. So you can't necessarily go right for dinner, because I know myself, vendors try to sell me stuff. I don't want to go to dinner with, I have a family. I'd rather be home. I'm not going to go to dinner with some stranger unless I'm out of town. If I'm in some other town at a trade show and I got nothing to do but sit in my hotel, then boom, you can get me out to dinner, no problem. So, you have to judge what is the appropriate kind of invitation that you want to do. But, we've done these, we do marketing and sales audits on companies. We go in and audit their whole operation and their procedure and how they do it, and you find everything. And I'm talking to some of their salespeople, and these are account managers who are in charge of $3 million worth of business each. Each one of them handles about $3 million worth of business. And they don't do any bonding. It's all business, straight business. And then this salesperson says to me, well, I don't think, meals and all that stuff is really necessary. I mean, I have good products. They know I have good products, and that's all that really counts. And, then we said, well, do you have competitors? Oh, yeah, we got lots of competitors. Well, let's say a competitor comes into play, and the new broom comes into town, and the new broom starts taking them out for lunch and having dinner with them, and, taking them out to ball games and doing lots of fun things with them and having parties with them and inviting them to events and schmoozing with them at their house. Do you think that person's going to be able to take the business away from you, barring that all the products are fundamentally equal and the prices are equal? Which person would you give your business to? Person who's whining and dining you and at your house? And the person who you're building a nice, beautiful relationship, who you look forward to dealing with? Or the person who is straight business? And the guy goes, I see what you mean. So get out there and bond, folks. Look to build those personal relationships. After the meal, follow through with another letter. Dear Joe, you make a great lunch guest. I wish all my clients had your sense of humor. Meanwhile, the guy wasn't even funny. I was intrigued by your thoughts on direct mail, so I've asked for some further research. I'll let you know when it comes in. Meanwhile, stay away from those anchovies. Regards, Bernie. Ha, 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 ha. Just trying to be entertaining. We go to step 6. Look again to have something fun together. Again, you have to design your own steps. I'm giving you some ideas here. You need to think about what they are. All right, here's something fun. Even better if you can involve the two families, because now when you traverse that real sacred business relationship into the personal relationship, and now you know his wife, or you know her husband, and you know the kids, and now you've got that kind of a relationship going, that's when you really start to get bonding. That's when you get that customer loyalty that transcends competitors and other products and other prices, okay? So look to have something fun. Can you go boating with them? Can you go on a tennis outing? Can you take them to a play? Can you have a picnic together? A comedy club. That's a great bonding experience, especially if the people are really funny, because anytime people laugh together, they bond together. A sporting event, a club event, hot air ballooning. I have done hot air ballooning with clients all over the country, and it's an outstanding experience because most people haven't done it, and it's really a neat thing to do. And it will help you bond. Now, I will tell you that you cannot get insurance for that. So, I'm not recommending that you do that unless you're going to take your chances. But in the cases where I did it, I figured, well, if they die, I die too, so I don't care if we can get insurance for this or not. But the point is, statistically, it's safer than flying. So, but anyway, you can't get insurance for a company to take people on hot air ballooning. Now, your goal is to be part of your client's life. Look for something exciting that you can do together. All concepts subject to individual budgets, insurance coverage, and supervisor approval. So I may be recommending something that your company can't do. You need to take that into consideration. That's one of your things that you need to address. Now again, let's go more. Something to help their business. Can you be the king of networking? Great salespeople always find ways to help their clients succeed. Can you hook up 2 clients to form a referral network? In Mega Marketing 3, we talk about piggyback marketing. What if you got 2 of your clients to piggyback into some venture that turned out to be extremely successful for them? And I mentioned in another case, we started a placement service where we help people find jobs. Talk about bonding with the marketplace. It was fantastic. Free placement service. Can you provide a suggestion, concept, or an idea to help your clients succeed? So work your way onto their staff. Perhaps you can sell more product or services in the process. And every time you see this, it's going to inspire you to do more follow-up, so you cannot watch this module too much. Another Carter letter. Your clients need to hear from you constantly until they are permanently bonded. Even then, you need to keep following up. Keep sending follow-up notes and jokes, even if you are best friends with your clients. So what happens is a lot of people start to take them for granted. They don't give them the kind of attention that now, you've been dealing with this person for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. And the new kid on the block comes in, and the new kid's cards and letters, and so the client starts to respect them and starts to feel won over and starts to feel obligated, and you see little pieces of your market share going away. And then one day you lose it all. So don't ever take those long-term client relationships for granted. So here's another joke. I want to try on that suit in the window. I'm sorry, sir, but you'll have to use the dressing room. Pum-pum. Dear Joe, the attached comic or article made me think of you. I don't know why. Regards, Norman. All right, step 9. More help to succeed. What else can you do to help your clients? Can you take them to a seminar? Can you give a seminar at their location? Can you give them a cassette course? Help them find new personnel? Watch for trends in their market. This particular modular program is packed with seminars you can give to your clients, particularly if you're in the kind of business where your clients need to succeed. That time management module, if you sell business to business, and there is not a company in the world that doesn't need that kind of a module. And anybody who has salespeople or marketing people, now you have great materials. There's 12 seminars here that you can take to help them or give them or watch with them or bring over and let them see. I mean, these are just ways for you to build better relationships. When you bring good material to your clients, it helps you. All right, step number 10. Becoming friends with your clients. Really, this is what you want to do. Become a valuable asset and trusted confidant and friend with your client. It breeds remarkable customer loyalty. Customers will feel like they are engaging in a personal betrayal if they buy from a competitor. Make no mistake, that's so powerful. It gives you unequaled control over your market, gives you the inside track on everything your customer is thinking. So if you and I have a really good relationship and there's any kind of little flaw in the relationship where you're thinking about anything, in fact, I mentioned that competitor that came into the market, the clients were calling up the salespeople before they advertised because they felt like they were too close to just appear in that publication. And the salespeople had the opportunity to talk them out of it. It was just wonderful. It worked so well. Step number 10, actually that last one wasn't step 10, it's just conceptual again, another concept. Step 10, the ultimate is to be invited to their home or be invited to yours. These are quotes from top producers I have known. Every important client has dined in my home. Half of the people at my wedding were my clients. From their fantasies to their hobbies to their children's hobbies, I know everything about my top clients. Those are actual quotes. Here's two. Can you imagine this is you and your best client, and this is your child and their child? I mean, these are fantastic relationships. That's what you want to try and build. Here's another concept we call surround the account. Make friends with everyone from the janitor to the salesperson. Stop and take a few minutes to go through. Now, we've talked about in the module about getting around the gatekeepers and mastering the telephone, that you don't want to become friends with the gatekeeper. In the initial stages, no. But once you've gotten into the account, now you want to befriend every single person so that anybody who talks to your client says, that guy Chet, he's just a really nice guy. I mean, he always takes the time to stop and ask me questions. You never know where these people are going to end up, how they can help you, and where they'll give you little insights or how they ingratiate you to their boss. Okay? Remember, everyone's favorite person to talk about is who? Well, you make sure you ask everybody about themselves. How's it going? So, in summary, Bonding is everything. Your ultimate goal is that all of your biggest clients also become your best friends. So become involved in their lives, become involved in the success of their business, make it your personal mission to help them succeed. And my final message to you, ladies and gentlemen, follow up or be mediocre. So here's a module that you can go through again and again and again, and as I'm going through it now, teaching it again for the how many times I have no idea, I'm realizing myself that I need to have even better follow-up procedures than I do on this new division that we just started. So, here I am teaching this stuff, and I need to relearn it all the time. So certainly anyone watching this can benefit from watching this at least once every 3 months. There's 12 modules. Well, the one on hiring superstars, you might not go through unless you're hiring. So, but every 11 weeks, so every 2 or 3 months, you're going through the modules again. Go through them, stop the video, and build in the procedures. Work on them if self-study, or work on them with your team, but continue to go through them, and you will continue to evolve and have the best sales and marketing effort of any company that you probably will ever know of, unless they, of course, buy the program as well. Keep up the good work. Bye.